What's up, Billy Weatherall? How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Good to be here.
Yeah, man. So we've only known each other not even a year now, but you have a lot of things going on. You have an amazing story and a journey. So I wanted to get you in and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have Christ Fit Gym, among other businesses that have grown off of that.
Right.
And doing a lot for the community. Let's scale back all the way to way before this started and kind of go from there. You want to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, cool.
All right. I'll start, I guess I'll start in high school.
Okay, cool.
So I'm 40. I graduated Airline High School in the year 2000. And my parents, I was adopted by my grandparents, very Bible believing. I came from a Bible believing home, being raised by my grandparents. They were old school, save your money, never check my report card. They just wanted me to work, and they wanted me to just and to go to church. That's it. That's all that they required of me. So grew up in that environment, being in church all the time, but never really had a relationship with the Lord. It was just something I did to appease my grandparents. But what I did know in high school is, and ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to serve. My dad was in the Marines, which I never knew until I turned 21, but I would see pictures of him when I was younger. Both my grandparents, grandpa served, like all my aunts, my uncles, so serving was a big deal. Barely graduated high school. I worked super hard in high school. I was working Pizza Hut, making money. I was probably making more money than my teachers, selling drugs on the side with pizza. I mean, I had a good little thing going.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. So barely graduated high school. I went to the recruiter's office, wanted to be on the front lines. I said, whatever you've got. I said, that's what I want to do. And I joined June of 2000. I joined the infantry with the Army, and that's where it all started.
Okay. Now, a few questions on this. So you said you you lived with your grandparents. What happened with your parents?
So my mom, I love my mom, but she was just wild growing up.
Okay.
She had been married to my dad. Her and my dad just weren't married long. He was in the Marine Corps, kind of ran off and did some stuff. I mean, my mom messed up, so they got a divorce, and it was me and my sister at that time, and my mom couldn't support us, so they adopted us.
Gotcha.
And that was it. So I really lived a lot with my grandparents growing up.
I got you. Yeah, I had a single mom growing up too, and I mean, a lot of the times when she was working, we had to be at the grandparents because we were broke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and you said drugs. So what were you selling?
Pot.
Pot.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dime bag. I mean, I mean, pills up and do whatever. So, you never get pulled over. Got a Pizza Hut thing on there. You know what I'm saying? So people will be like, "Hey, Bill, look, I need some weed."
That's a good cover.
Drop off a pepperoni pizza. So that's what I was doing.
Man, that's crazy. That is crazy. I mean, well, you already had the work ethic.
Yeah, I mean, it was there. Absolutely.
It was just down a different path.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when you got to so you got into the military, what happened? What starts happening there?
Go to basic training, man. It is everything that I wanted to do. And I was back in high school, I was very well liked. I've always been a kind of person that just, man, I'm going to talk to anybody. I don't care what color you are. I don't care how much money you have. Like, I've always wanted to see value in other people. I've always just kind of felt like I've been a leader, and I want to include other people. I want to make sure people are comfortable. So, I was very well liked in high school. I get in the military, and the same thing. I meet a lot of friends, and I go through basic training. And the thing about me is, if I make up my mind to do something, I've always committed to it.
Yeah.
It's just whatever I said I want to do. So I was committed to basic. I was committed to going to the schools, all kinds of stuff. So I get out of basic training. I go to airborne school. And this is all before September 11th. And then I get picked to go to this Javelin school. I'm running some kids through the military right now, and I'm just telling them volunteer for all these little special schools. So,
well, so for the people who don't know what that is, what is that?
So Javelin, it was a new missile. This is back in 2000, so technology has probably enhanced 100 times since then. But it was a missile that could do direct attack or top attack to tanks. So it was a tank killer.
Okay.
But a really important part of this machine was a command launch unit that was thermal imagery. All right. So it was a big, heavy piece of equipment, but it was a two-piece. I could use this clue, a command launch unit, and see thermals without ever firing them. So it was like a very good, the top technology in thermals those days. I get to my unit, 10th Mountain Division, and man, I get there, I get hazed. I mean, it's old school, dude. I mean, they are just rough and tough on me. I worked hard. I kept my mouth shut, and I learned something in the military. If you are in really good shape, they won't mess with you. You know, and I've always, and even before joining the military, I've always been in shape. But I mean, the military just amplified it times 100. So I get to my unit, September 11th happens, and that's just, man, when everything turns around. Yeah. So that's a real big part. You got any questions from that point, or?
No. Let's keep going. All right.
So after September 11th, I was 20 years old. Had been in the military, golly, maybe for, a year and a half, 2 years.
Where did you do basic at?
We did at Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay, got you.
All right. So we get orders. We're going to Uzbekistan. Okay. All right. I don't know where Uzbekistan is. We're told we're leaving in 3 days. Pack everything. We're ready to roll. All right. We're going to war. All right. Whoever bombed the trade centers, that's the people we are going after. And I kid you not, I'm 20 years old. They said, boys, we're going to Afghanistan, and we're going to capture this guy. And it was a picture of bin Laden.
Okay.
I had no clue where any of this is. I had no clue who bin Laden was, but, we were going to be the top. I mean, this is the first boots on the ground. We're trying to knock this thing out. So if you read anything about the military, their very first operation we did in Afghanistan was called Operation Anaconda. And the mission was we were going to be like a snake, like us and Special Forces, Navy SEALs, a small group. We'd get dropped off by helicopter and, surround the enemy forces and just squeeze them, and kill them. But there have been a lot of pamphlets. We got a lot of intel that there really was not that much enemy there. I mean, it was just going to be a couple of day mission. So I'll never forget it. We got on a Chinook, and my unit's flying out to the Shai-Kot Valley for Operation Anaconda. They flew us in, and man, the door gunner, I don't know if we took contact or if he was just shooting. I think he was shooting at something, but man, we're flying. I'm going into combat. I'm 20 years old, and that door gunner just starts shooting, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, just the adrenaline is pumping, man. This is it. This is what I signed up for. This is like the Super Bowl, okay? So we get dropped off, and man, it is crazy. Like the enemy found out about the battle plan. They dug in. They let us drop in, but man, once the Chinooks were gone, because we traveled in on Chinooks and Blackhawks, they set up an outer wall outside of us, so we couldn't get in or out. The only thing that we had is to get resupplied on weapons was drops from B-52, so they trapped us. So this mission gets real interesting real quick. Okay, so we're out, we're hunting. We were hunters, and there was no rules of engagement when we went here. There was none. If you didn't wear an American flag and it was there, you shoot it. Yeah. So during this time, I feel so needed because I have the clue with me. Nobody can operate these night thermals except for me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Which makes a good point for you bringing up earlier. So this is what you need to be interested in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're like, Bill, man, look, can you tell us who's out here? So I'm looking through a mountain range just all day long, and at night I can see it real good at night. So I'm just being like, okay, we got two here, and I'm a machine gunner. I'm a 240 Bravo machine gunner, and man, they're moving me up front. They're like, Bill, here we go. So it was really neat to get to use that. Close air support was a lot. So I remember one day, we moved during the day. We take high ground at night, and just looking at everybody we had killed. And it was, I'll just never forget it. It was not guys that you see on TV. It was like kids, it was like 14, 15-year-old kids. And I'll never forget that, and I've seen so much death now at 20 years old. It's insane. And I'm responsible for so much death. So here's a turning point. And this is a really big turning point in my life. And I'll never forget this. But one night, we're on guard. and it's super, super cold, and it's just, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm miserable. So I woke up for night guard. We stay up so high up in the mountains, it's freezing.
Yeah.
And since it's only been a couple of days, we didn't bring enough cold weather. And I wiped my watch, the frost off my watch, and I just turned 21 years old. And I was just crying, and I just had a mental breakdown. I was just like, man, like, if there is hell on earth, this is it. All my buddies went to college, they're getting to eat Taco Bell, they're staying in warm beds, they're drinking, they're having fun, they're sleeping around, and man, here I am.
Yeah.
So before that, and a part of that night that led to that was the night before, I had seen some movement in like a little ground building. And I call it in at night, and I said, look, we got movement down here 400 meters from my position. They're like, Bill, just watch it tonight. If anybody comes out, shoot it. But we don't want to give away our position. We'll attack it in the morning. I was like 10-4. So I had eyes on it, all night long.
Right.
And just watching it. So the thing with the clue is you can tell thermal, but you just can't tell anything else. You can just see a body signature. You can't really tell much from that. So this building was just a hotbed of just thermal, heat. It was just
right.
cool. So the next morning we get up. I've been up, the other guys get up, and I'm like, okay, here we go. So fired it up. So shot the whole building to pieces, and I've got a radio. So you send down a security team, and they go and gather intel. So they go into the building, and I'm watching them on overlook going down the mountain, and then they come out, and I'm talking to them on the radio. I'm like, hey, what's how many did we kill? Who are they? Anybody alive? I'm watching over them, and man, the radio's just silent. And they come out, and I could just tell that it was something was different. I just tell it was different. So they come back up, and one of my best friends at the time was always one of my best friends. His name was Thor, and he's just like, man, Bill, we wiped out that building. He's like, it was just full of women. I mean, just women and children.
Man.
And that was something you just kind of hide. You just what do you do? I mean, you just move on. So that operation ended, and we did a lot of other stuff in Afghanistan. And I was in Afghanistan for about a year and a half, and I come back home, and I was really close to my grandparents, and I remember going home and being around my sister. I've been very close to my family. And my sister just like, Bill, did you know, like you just said that for like 20 times at the dinner table.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. And my
You've been in a whole other life.
Yeah. And my grandma, she was just like, Bill, I could just see a part of you's missing. She's just like, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. And nobody really understood, I'd seen so many bad things at 20, 21 years old. I just don't know how to cope with it. I really don't. And it's it's a lot of just killing, collateral damage, just innocent people that we had, just taken.
Yeah.
It's war. That's just what war is. So my mom at that time, I didn't have a really good relationship with my mom growing up because she was on me. Like, she knew, she could look at my eyes and tell if I smoked weed. She could see my fingers and see if I've been smoking cigarettes, because she was down with that game. You know what I'm saying? That's the game she knew.
Yeah.
So, man, I hated her for that, because she would go out of town. She took a key from me, and that was the spot to party. But overseas, I'll never forget it. When I left, I didn't say anything to my mom. My mom wrote me every day overseas, every day. And, that was a part too. It was just like, man, I've treated the woman, that loves me more than anyone else. I treated her like crap, and I felt so bad about that.
Do you think so? Did you have a close relationship with her beforehand, or you think that she knew you may be going through some things, so she was there to support you?
Yeah, she always loved me.
Yeah.
She loved me, never stopped loving me. I backed off on her because she was on me. You know what I'm saying? She saw the road I was going down.
But she still stayed.
Always. She never stopped loving me. So came back, and me and my mom really just had a really great relationship coming back. So go back, and we have another operation up. We're going to Africa, Djibouti, Africa. So we deployed there for another year and a half. Never fired a shot there. But I did get to meet a lot of the SEAL, got to work with the SEAL team there.
What was that like, from going into something so high, full throttle, and constantly worrying about getting killed, and then constantly having to shoot people, and do all the things, to being deployed into another area? Like, mentally, how do you? What's the difference there?
You go to we go to Africa, but I was so engaged, So we went to Camp Lemonnier, all right. So you would have tryouts and be like, hey, whoever tries out on base, you have to do this aptitude test, PT test, all this stuff. Well, I tried out and I made it. You know what I'm saying? Just to go be security for these guys. So it was so cool because they're going out and shooting people. I'm just kind of security, so I feel like I'm in the game.
Okay.
I got picked to do French Foreign Legion school there. Learned a lot. I mean, it was kind of like it was good because when I go overseas, I never drank. You can't drink when you go overseas. Right. But I was constantly learning. I was, getting to learn new tactics and really built up a lot. So overseas, I was a phenomenal soldier. In the barracks, I was horrible. I was drunk all the time. Yeah. That's the way, most of these young guys are. So come back from Africa, and my 4 years is over. All right. 2 deployments. It had been a good time. But man, I was just, I was ready to get out. I was like, I'm going to get these uniforms. I'm going to never wear them again. Not that I didn't. I mean, it was just a very bad memories. Right. The last 4 years, I had cried so much. I had lost so much. I'd made so many good friends. But, my plan was just to cut ties with everything. I'm getting out. Can't wait. I have a plan. I'm just helping my sister buy a house on Northside Drive in Bossier. I'm enrolled in Bossier Parish Community College, and everything's set. All my equipment's turned in, and it is just game time. So I'm out, and when you get out of the military, you get 2 weeks to clear. Well, I cleared in like 3 days, so I went out and just got drunk and hung out with women, man, because you can do whatever you want the last 2 weeks. So I get a call from the command desk, and they said, hey, Bill, First Sergeant wants to see you like now. They said, where are you at? And I'm like, I'm 2 hours away in Rome, New York. He's like, you're supposed to be clearing, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to be here within 30 minutes. So I'd already broken so many rules. So I'm dying. So I'm speeding back, and I'm like, dude, what in the heck has happened? Like, did I have underage girls in the barracks? Did we have a party? Like, did they find drugs in my room? Like, everything's going through because I was just that wild, okay? We come back, and it's the office has got like 19 dudes in it, and I walk in, and he's just livid. He looks at me, he's like, well, Weatherall, thanks for finally showing up. And man, I'm terrified. I'm in parade rest, and he sends everybody out. He's like, man, everybody can leave. He's like, I want to talk to Weatherall and Williams. So automatically I'm like, this is weird, because this is like the golden boy, Right. And he said, guys, man, I'm sorry. He said, I had to retain 2 guys. And he goes, I picked y'all. He goes, I can depend on y'all. He goes, he said, and I mean, I have to have you. And I was looking real tough. I was like, Roger, First Sergeant, I'll be there for everybody. And, I go upstairs, and everybody finds out that I'm going. And they're just like, Bill, they were so happy, because I was light. And I mean, I knew what I was doing,
right.
I was battle hardened, so I get to my room and I just break down, man. I just start crying, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I can mentally handle another, because I know this is bad. This is going to Baghdad, like it's big time. So we get there, and of course, I'm the lead gunner, and it is just game on. And I mean, I spent a year and a half in Baghdad riding on top of a truck with the M240. It was crazy, totally different, Still no rules of engagement, but you just talk about in Baghdad, you got to be careful. So I did that, man, for a year and a half. And at the very end, I was just watching old videos. I really destroyed a lot of videos. It's funny because I threw them away last month, but I was at home and I was just watching old videos. And my daughter came in, and she's just like, is that you, Dad? Like, I was just hardened. I was just filthy mouth. I was, just lost. I was miserable, and but the gunfights, my hands never shook. It was, it just became normal business to me.
Right.
So I get out. 6 years, I get out. finally. And that was it, man. I could not wait. I will never forget my last day. I was so happy. So I go home. And, man, I start drinking more than I've ever drank. All right. I'm hooked on drugs. I'm smoking anything.
Anything. Like Coke, weed,
I love
pills,
Coke.
whatever.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, man, I just, I'd go to the strip clubs, bring girls home. Man, I was just empty, and I was working at a construction job, and I get my butt chewed out about some stuff for not sweeping up a room, and to get your butt chewed out after you've done all this wonderful thing. My pride, I was just like, dude, like, you don't know who I am, and you don't know what I've done. Right. I really didn't say much. So one night I heard my sister talking on the phone, and she's just like, Mom, I don't know what we're going to do. She's just like, Bill is just miserable. She's like, nobody wants to be around him. He's bitter. He's drinking. Like, she's crying. She's like, I just feel so sorry for him. She's like, he's miserable. She was right. So I made up my mind. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm going to kill myself 100%. Like I said.
How old were you at this point? What, 26, 27?
Yeah, let me see. Probably like 25, 26, okay. Yeah, because I joined at 18.
Right, okay, yeah.
So I'm just like, man, yeah. So the next night, I'm drinking and I'm getting drunk before I do it, and waited, had everything planned out. I had a pistol. One of the first things I got when I got home was a pistol. Right. So I'll never forget it, but I had a camouflage Bible that a chaplain gave me right in Operation Anaconda. And he walked around before we went in, and he just said, hey, guys, does anybody want a Bible? And I remember, man, what if all this stuff my grandma told me about Jesus, what if all this stuff is true?
Yeah. I
was like, I better take a Bible. So I took the Bible. I never opened it up, but I took it on every deployment with me. Never opened it up. And I thought to myself, man, if God is real, and if I have the Bible on me, man, maybe he'll let me into heaven, so that was my way of thinking. So at this point in my life, I'm getting ready to take my life. That Bible had turned into a coaster, had just to keep my beers on. And when I tell you, like, I've experienced just so many horrible things in the military, like people burned alive, people just, blown to pieces in front of you, children. It's just, you just never, you don't know how to handle it. You just don't know how to handle it. You self-medicate, like it's always there. It's very hard to explain. It's very consuming. And the only way that I knew how to cope with it was through drugs and alcohol. So I'm putting that beer down on the Bible. I picked up the pistol. I got it to my head, and I'm literally, a millisecond from picking it up, and I just had a breakdown. And I just cried, and I put the pistol down, and I just cried out to God. I'll never forget the conversation. I said, God, if you're real, I said, if you really are who you freaking say you are, if everything about you I've ever heard is real, I said, save me. I said, because, man, if you save me, I will do whatever you ask me. I said, I don't know what a Christian looks like. I don't know what to do. I don't even know really what's in that book. I said, but I'll do whatever you want me to. Yeah. And cried out to God. And the next day, a guy called me, not by coincidence, but he just said, hey, Bill, I've been praying for you. Why don't you go to this Promise Keeper seminar? And it was in Dallas, Texas, in October of 2000. 2006. And man, that night gave my heart to the Lord. And man, I never looked back. And I told God, I just said, okay. I said, you answered me. Drugs, I'm done with them. I said, I'm done sleeping around. I'm done partying. I'm just done doing all that life, and I was dating actually a couple of girls at the time. Yeah. But there was one girl that I was dating. Her name was Julie, my wife now. And there was just something about her, man, that, man, I loved. She was just fine was the first thing, and she just, she looks awesome. But there was just something about her. And I called her up and I said, hey, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, I gave my heart to Jesus. I was kind of embarrassed about it. I was like, I just gave my heart to Jesus. What do you think about this? She's like, oh, okay. I'm sure she's thinking, like, what a weirdo, you know what I'm saying? But I said, if you want to be with me, I said, if you don't, I don't want to go out anymore. I don't want to drink. And, if you want to do that. And I said, I'd love to try it out with you. She's like, sure. She's like, let's give it a shot. So, I'm completely with her, know. I mean, it went from a very worldly relationship to, her just doing that. And, man, I got a good job, a good oil and gas job. I started getting in God's word and just praying, and man, people think I'm weird. That people think I got the Jesus kid.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks that, especially when they know someone's been through something rough. Like someone get out of prison or whatever.
Yeah. So, everybody's kind of worried about me. I started calling some military friends who are making fun of me, like, they don't know what to think. Right. I mean, just here I am, this Bible thumper now. And I didn't know, so I just started reading. I mean, I was just reading God's word. I was just hungry. I wanted to know more. I started, watching movies about him, and I wanted to know more. Me and Julie are dating, and still at my sister's house. We had a little shed back there that we'd all work out at. I'd moved away at this point to kind of get away from that environment. But I had a little gym in the back, and when I came home, I remember asking Jody, do you want me to make this a bar or a gym? She was like, well, man, I think we can benefit a lot more from her gym. So I was drinking back there with the guys, partying. And after I gave my life to the Lord, I'm like, guys, we're not going to drink anymore. I was like, we're going to just read the Bible. And they're like, a little weird, Bill. They're like, but okay, we'll do it. So it started there at 2340. That's just this gym that went from getting high, bench pressing to, doing a devotion, listening to Christian music, and everybody was cool with it. They're just like, okay, Bill, let's give it a shot. So Julie ends up giving her life to the Lord. We get married. She's a labor and delivery nurse. We have a little girl. I'm traveling all over the world doing mission trips. I'm making great money, working oil and gas. I mean, we're giving, we're tithing. Like, man, life is good, DJ. It's good. Not only is it good, but I had gotten re-recruited back into the Army to be a part-time drill sergeant. They're like, look, will you please get back in? And they said, we'll give you this bonus of $25,000 right now. And, kind of guilted me in there, just said, you've been deployed so much and you have so much experience. Please come help us. They're like, because these kids have no clue. Yeah. And there's nobody. And I said, okay, I'll do it. I prayed about it and went and did it. And, had 10 years. Went from 6, and I got out officially in 2016. But doing that oil and gas, and just life is so good. Life is so good, and got my daughter, and then the Haynesville shell happens here. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people went through it. Yep. So everything kind of changed after that. It was really hard to get a job, and you get so used to making that good oil and gas money, man. It's just like, wow, So I don't know what to do. I'm praying, and I mean, we basically lose almost everything that we have. We had gotten, my wife nice things, and we had a house in Rosedale, had nice cars, and I mean, it just dries up. It just dries up, and God, I keep having these dreams and feel like God is calling me to do this gym, because now we're married. We're at Rosedale. There's so many people coming and working out every day at 5:30. Because that was the only stipulation. It's your house. So
this all started in the shed, and then it goes to the garage.
Yes, now it's my garage, and there's like tons of people coming. Tons. And the homeowners association is like, no more working out. Like, you can't. You're blocking streets. So God was telling me, like, I want you to do this gym. I want you to do this gym. And man, I kept saying, this is crazy, dude. There's no way. There's no way I'm gonna do a gym. And man, God stripped me of everything. God said, okay, Bill, here we go. And I'll never forget it. I mean, I'm miserable. I can't find a job. I've applied for like 100 different jobs. I'm showing my wife. I just said, this is comical. I said, I think God wants me to do this gym, Julie. I was like, I really do. I think he wants me to do a free Christian gym. And she's like, well, let's pray about it. And, I kind of spoke to my pastor at the time. He laughed in my face. He's like, that's crazy. And my family that I love so much, they're just like, Bill, you've done so good. They're like, we just don't want you to go back to, you're drinking. If you start a free gym, it's just, they're like, it's not going to work, man, a free Christian gym. So I just got on my hands and knees. I can't pay my mortgage. And I'm taking my daughter to preschool one morning. And, I just cry out to God, and I'm frustrated. I'm like, God, is this the gym you want me to do? I was like, is this what you want me to do? I said, you got to show me, and you got to show me today. okay, because he's taking everything. And right when I prayed that, I pulled up a sermon I'd listened to a while back from my ex-pastor, Chad Grayson, and he had preached a sermon on Revelation 4:8, and it says, behold, I know your works. Behold, I know your works, and I know you've been faithful. Behold, I've set an open door before you. Mm-hmm. And, I listened to that. I was like, okay, God, if Christ fit Jim's open door, show me. I take my daughter to the preschool that morning. They put up a brand new poster, and it said Revelation 4:8. It said, behold, God has set before you an open door. Yeah. And I just said, okay. I said, it's in. I talked to my wife. My wife's like, let's do it. She's all in. And I told her, I said, Jules, we're probably going to lose a lot. We're going to have to, downgrade everything and just go backwards. I said, are you cool with that? She's like, this is what God wants us to do. And she was about it. Yeah. So it's me and her, that's it. And everybody's like, oh my gosh. And now are we good on time? I mean,
no, we're good. Okay.
Man, we're committed. I go to a bank. I get a loan because I'm a veteran. A Patriot Loan Express Act is to help veterans start businesses. So I took out a loan to start out a Christian gym, and that's how we made it. And I look back now, and it was just God just stripped us, because I can never say I did it. Mm-hmm. The only thing I did was just finally said okay, and basically God pushed me off a ledge to do it. So it's the first month of the gym. We found a place, and this guy, he's I'm getting ready to move in and rent the building. I'm motivated. I'm ready. This is where we want to be. And the guy's like, well, what are you planning on putting in here, Bill? I said, a free Christian gym. And he laughs in my face. Mm-hmm. He said, son, that'll never work. He goes, tell me why. He goes, I should give you a free Christian gym. He goes, tell me why I should let you build here for a free Christian gym. And I stuck out my hand and I said, because God is for me. And he said, okay. He goes, I want $2,500 up front. And he goes, is your deposit? He goes, you better never be late on the payment. And I said, I will never be late on the payment. All right, so $2,500, okay. Start the gym, had about all the equipment, the build out. I mean, I'm broke. Yeah. I'm broke all over again.
And this starts is like, because is it just like, so what type of gym does it start as?
It's just small, maybe like 2 little buildings, 2,000 square feet, Nobody had ever donated to the gym before. Right. I've just been working out in my house for free, drinking all my stuff out of my refrigerator and using my they'd be like, Bill, I'm going to put a load in. You know what I'm saying? Like just a whole bunch of freeloaders. Uh-huh. But loved it. So they weren't used to donating. And it was a lot of younger guys. Mm-hmm. And I got a phone call the first month, and it was a friend's mom. Her name's Cindy, and she says, Bill, hey, look, I heard what you're doing. Hey, fantastic. We want to get behind it and support it. She goes, David, one of my best friends, she goes, he was going through a hard time with meth. Can you bring him in? And, just let him work there. She's like, we'll pay him to work there. She's like, but just want him to be around you. And I said, okay. So David comes there, and he's like, Bill, this Jesus stuff ain't for me. And I'm like, that's cool. And as a Christian, I've never wanted to be one of those real pushy Christians. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's when people would be like, hey, do you believe in Jesus? Because if you're not, you're going to go to hell. Mm-hmm. Like I just turned around, I was just like, who do you think you're talking? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I wanted to be different. You know what I'm saying? That's not the way, that God has called me to share the gospel, And the way I define the gospel is John 14:6. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And nobody comes to the Father except through the Son. So, I've built everything, and this is part of the deal that I made with God is just, you'll do anything. This is the gym I want you to do. And I was all in, man. I was all in. I was broke. Okay, God, here I am. I'm going to be a man of this deal. And it's the last day of the month. The gym just sucks, dude. Like, people are coming. Nobody's donating.
No one's donating. They're just showing up.
Yeah, just showing up, man. And I didn't want to be like prideful, be like, I don't know what to do. Like, and I told God, I'm like, God, I'll do this gym, but I don't want to beg for money. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I'll do it, God. I said, but just, you're going to have to pay for it, And it's the last day of the month, and man, I don't have $2,500, and I owe this guy rent like 6 hours, and I'm panicking, man, and I'm panicking. So I called David in my office. I said, David, look, I know. I said, but man, I need you to pray with me. I said, dude, I got myself a situation here. So I grabbed his hand and I prayed, and man, I wore God out, DJ. I'll never forget it. I'm just like, God, I've done everything that you've ever asked me to. I said, I kept my end of the bargain. I said, I've tithed my money, every red cent. I've put everything in this. I said, I've sold cars. I've been committed. I was like, where are you? I was like, where are you? And man, I was cussing in this prayer too, man, just mad. And I said, amen. And David is just like, oh my gosh, dude, Billy's going off his rocker. You know what I'm saying? And there's a guy standing right there at my office door, and he's holding a check, and he said, Bill, I wanted to give this to you. This is what God put on my heart to give to you. And guess how much the check was for?
$2,500. Man, it gives me chill bumps.
And here's the deal, man, and this is where God just put me in check mode.
Yeah.
This is God wears me out, and in Isaiah 66, it says, God's ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are not our thoughts. So what happened was David had seen a miracle, and he just, Bill, I want you to baptize me. I want you to
right there.
I want to give my life to Jesus right there. And he had seen a miracle,
and he wasn't about it at first. He was just there at work.
No, he was not. And man, and just him seeing that, he's just like, and that's what God was saying. He's just like, Bill, don't ever question me. And DJ, I've been doing this gym now really since full-time since 2012, and man, I have so many stories of people coming to the gym, and just talking about how it's changed their life. And it's not me, it's the gospel, and the word says that God's word is alive, it's active, and it's sharper than a two-edged sword. And if it was not real, I would never waste my time doing what I'm doing, but I believe in it with all my heart. I've reached out to all my military buddies. Man, it's amazing how big the gym has gotten. When we first moved in the initial spot, the first month we're working out there, and it was me and my brother, and he was saying, Bill, what if in 20 years when you retire, 30 years, if you get to rent out this whole building? I was like, bro, that's a big dream, dude.
Yeah.
And 4 years later we're out, and we're building, we had got land and people are donating, and I mean, this thing just blows up, dude. It just blows up. So when we move out and we get a bigger building, here me and my wife are again, she's working full time, and I said, Julie, to build this building, we're gonna have to take out like a jumbo loan. I was like, we can't have any debt, what do you want to do? She's like, let's do it. So we went backwards. We sold our house, again, did all of our cars, worked up hard, and we moved in the new building, and it's just super expensive, DJ. I mean, you've been here.
Yeah.
And my wife is working. I'm working more than ever, and I had to get out of the Army now, after 16 years, just because I was on another deployment and just couldn't handle it, But I got out, had a wonderful military career, and but I'm there at the gym, and it's just so hard, DJ. It's just so hard to make the ends meet. So I started praying. I'm just like, God, give me wisdom to grow this thing. So we started a thrift store. My sister runs a thrift store, so it's outside the gym, and it ties to the gym. Thrift store blows up. All right. Then we started moving company, and started moving company, and it gives to the gym. We started a Fruits of Spirit, and I'm letting all my family work. Like, I'm calling in my family from everywhere. I'm like, guys, come on, man. I think I've got this thing figured out. But so I started to create these businesses, and they're multiple businesses, and they all do that. And it's what my vision is create jobs, and every one of them are built on Jesus.
Yeah.
Every one of them gives. And last year I was doing the numbers, and all these businesses were able to give the gym over $200,000, which is just incredible.
That's insane.
Yeah. So that's the drive behind it. Ever since we started the gym, now we have our own location. We're constantly expanding, doing more. And we have one in Oklahoma, and we want to do more gyms. And it's, man, God has been faithful, but every month, DJ, is just like the first month there. We grow, and people, see what God has done, but it becomes contagious. People see, and they're just like, man, if God can do this for Billy, he can do it for anybody.
I mean, it's an amazing business model, what you have, but I mean, what just hearing the entire, because I didn't know, and that's why I definitely wanted to talk to you about it, because we don't ever have much time other than seeing each other at the gym working out and getting to know how this all developed, because and what you said earlier about not being, a Christian who's one of those people like where if you don't, do this and you're going to hell or whatever. You've lived on both sides of the fence, so that makes it a little, I just feel like you're a better mentor in, any type of word than someone who's just only heard it but never really lived in any kind of,
and I
tension or anything.
I love, man, like my whole family has. My sisters, we've been in trouble. We've been there. And when people come and work out and they work at the gym, I'm like, man, felonies. Like, let me know, because that's
another thing I wanted to bring up too. You have been amazing at giving every single person a chance. Let's talk about that, because you employ. I mean, from letting special needs kids come help and work at the gym. From schools around here to people who've been convicted felons come and rebuild their lives. And all while you're taking that gamble on them. And it's and I believe in what Jesus has done in my life, and I can give them good jobs, and I don't want to. We've become very successful, and I want to pay people really good. I want to give good jobs. I want people, and I don't expect every employee to know Jesus when they come. There's a lot of people that don't know Jesus. Now, the heads of my department, are godly people. Like my sister does a devotion every morning. The Recycle Boys, they do a devotion every morning. That's part of when you work here. We're going to pray together. We're going to honor Christ as we work, and that's the mission. Now, with that comes a lot. I love doing what I do. Man, I get to meet thousands of people. I get to tell thousands of people about Jesus, and man, God has just called me to throw the seed. He said, Bill, if you just throw the seed, I'll do the work. And he's brought the finances in. Like God has supplied everything, and I don't have anything that nobody else has. I just have a little bit of faith, and I have a wonderful family, and I have a wonderful wife that stand behind me, because sometimes, DJ, just last week, me and my wife are home, and every night I go home, I take a bubble bath, and she'll sit there beside me and she'll talk to me, and I just said, is it worth it? Is all the money that we put out towards other missions, and we support Oklahoma because it's brand new, and I'm just like, is it worth it, Jules? We could do a lot of things, And it is. I mean, if one soul has been won for Christ, man, it's worth it. And me and my wife and my family, we're going to keep doing this. We'll go bankrupt if we have to, but God is going to continue to bless it, man. And it's amazing. It is. It really is. And, just seeing it from the outside looking in, and, since I've been working out there, and like the one thing I will say that this is like, I had no idea what to expect when my wife was like, hey, this is where I work out at. You want to come here? And I was like, well, this is interesting, because I've been the guy who's, fought MMA for the past 10 years. I've been in boxing gyms, and just going to the regular gym, working out with a bunch of douchebags, talking crap to each other. And I immediately walk in there. I was like, well, immediately it's not like first off, there's no negativity. Nowhere in the room. There's no negativity. Like the entire experience is always positive. From the person over there in the corner just curling a weight all the way over here to someone doing this wad about to kill themselves. Everything is so positive, and it's just like, I was like, man, this is something so powerful here. You know what I mean? It's just been crazy to experience that. And then what do you say to the people like to say, well, those just guys, it's like a cult over there, because I know you get that.
Oh, I get that all the time.
I didn't know you, but I've heard of the gym before, and then until I went there, it's just like anything else. You don't know until you go, right? Right.
So, and one thing that I heard a sermon one time, and this is what I've always kind of wanted to be like people should want what I have. People should see the joy in my life. They should see the way that I handle situations, because people see me all the time. I mean, I'm an open door. I'm an open book up there. I pour out my blood, my sweat, tears, everything for the ministry. But I want people to see that there's something different within me. And when they ask me, the Bible says always be prepared to give a hope, and I'm just like, man, it's Jesus. The solution is Jesus. So, a lot of people, they come there and they don't know what to expect. Right. I tell a lot of people, man, if they're competitor, if they are a competitive person, they're going to come here. It's going to be nothing what they expected, and if I can get somebody through the doors, I mean, they're going to come back. They're going to come back. And the only thing that kind of scares a lot of people is the workouts are so crazy, but they don't know they can do whatever they want to do. So, but yeah.
Well, why CrossFit? when did you get into that?
Well, when we got into the gym, I just wanted to be like a basic gym, but as a gym, owner, you have to figure out what people are coming to, Pilates, you have to be very adaptive,
right?
Especially in having a free gym.
Especially trying to just make it.
To make it. So, and one of the good things too about financially now is we have all these other businesses. It takes a little bit of a financial strain off me and my wife, and especially now doing Oklahoma, but it's always going to be there. There's always going to be those months of just praying and getting after it and dealing with people. But yeah, a huge part of our ministry is probably the people that we hire and the people that we give chances to.
Yeah. What about, let's talk about the crosswalk, because that's something you're super passionate about and that I've heard you guys talking about here recently. How does that work? Why are you doing that? And what's the formation of all that?
Right. So the first year that we did Christ Fit Gym, it was me and David. This is after the David saw the miracle, and I'm so pumped up. I'm like, God, I want to do something good for you. You know what I'm saying? I want to do something that honors you. Now, the thing about Jesus is, our works are not salvation based. Okay, so the criminal on the cross. There's two criminals on the cross, and one is like making fun of Jesus, and the other criminal said, "Hey, dude, we deserve to be here, but he's innocent." And the criminal said, "Jesus, will you remember me?" And Jesus says, "You will be with me today in paradise." So all the criminal did was admit that he was God and admitted that he was there, and that's it, So when I kneel before Jesus, or when I go to heaven and I kneel before the Lord, man, he's going to see the Son's blood on me. That's it. I can't get to I can't get to heaven by doing a Christ Fit Gym.
Right.
It's about knowing the Lord and having a relationship with Him. And man, I have a healthy relationship, I think, with the Lord because I need Him so much. I'm not being, I'm not running around with my wife. I want to be very obedient, not perfect. God doesn't want me to be perfect, but I try to be as obedient and do what God tells me to do, to give and just to love people the best way that I know how. And God has just rewarded us richly for that.
Well, so for the crosswalk thing though, how long is that?
Yes, it's 100 miles. Okay, so going
sorry,
there.
I didn't mean to bring you back to that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was chasing rabbits, but so we do the crosswalk. It's 100 miles, and takes about 2 days. And me and David did it. And it just crushed us, man. There was an ice storm that came that night. David wore Air Force One Jordans or something like that. He's bleeding through his feet. And we get to a gas station. It's 34 miles in. And, man, we are just crying. David can't go on. I'm frozen. And I just started praying. I just said, God, I had social media. And I just put something on Facebook. I'm like, man, help, please. Man, people came. They got the Facebook post. They came in. They said, Billy, get in the car. And, man, they took the cross, and we finished it. We were able to help for 100 miles. So we've been doing that every year.
How long has it been now?
It has been 12. Let me see. This over 10 times. But we do it different places. We do one in Oklahoma. Right. We do them in Idaho.
And how much does that thing weigh?
Man, the cross probably weighs about 30 pounds, the one we have here now.
So carrying it 30 pounds for 100 miles.
Yes.
Why 100 miles?
Because it's one of those things where, man, it's just hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard. And
34 miles is hard.
Yeah. So it just, man, takes you to a place, you know what I'm saying? I love it. It's one of my favorite times of the year because that night it gets silent. You get to talk to people. You get to pray. And it's just one of those things where, God, this is what I want to do to honor you. And it's not about me. It's not about the gym. But there's so many stories of people who saw the cross. For one instance, 2 years ago, I got a lady. We walked by a funeral home in the evening. And the son is battling with the Lord. And he's just like, God, if you're real, show me. He's like, show me. And he walks out of this church in Houghton, where the big hill is.
Yeah.
And he sees, all these people carrying a cross. And the mom found out who it was. And she called me up and she was just like, you have no clue. She goes, well, let me tell you something. She goes, my son cried out to Jesus. She goes, his dad had died. He was in a dark place, cried out to Jesus. And she said, at that very time, she saw you and 50 other people come with the cross over the hill. So it's stuff like that. It's just like, that's why we do it, people just seeing, man, that the cross is it's just not a shirt to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's everything to me.
What would you say, like, and I wanted to bring it back to real quick. So what you're talking about when you were way back when you were talking about dealing with thoughts of suicide and what you've been through, what would you say to anybody who's going through like PTSD or people who've served who've done horrible things and having a tough time dealing with those?
Yeah.
Like, and maybe they're initially off-putted by, going directly to religion. Like, maybe they're just trying to ease into, like, what would be your guidance for them?
Man, it is so hard because veterans, man.
Well, I know it's a really, really tough thing.
Oh, man, and like VFW, like, come on up here and drink. Let's have, you know what I'm saying? I mean, what does that really help? That's the last thing that they should be doing is drinking. So, man, I like to hire veterans because here's the deal. Man, if I can get a veteran working, I can pay him pretty good. Man, he's going to change. You know what I'm saying? He's going to see, that something's different. If I can just get him in the environment. But it's, I got tired of getting beat. I like to win. I cannot stand getting beat. And man, these emotions and the dreams, I was just getting beat up, man. I'm like, man, why? Like, people have killed people since the beginning of time. Like, why am I having such a hard time? Like, I'm a man. Like, God, take this from me. And I just remember when I gave my heart to Christ, it was just like, I'm not going to ask questions anymore. I said all these questions that, because before I gave my heart to the Lord, I was like, man, God's real. I'm going to have a little man-to-man talk with them. But when I gave my heart to him, I just said, I'm not going to have any more questions. Like, I'm going to give you all this crap and I'm going to just give it to you. And he took it. And the scriptures say, cast your sins. Jesus takes your sins and he casts them as far as the east is from the west. And he's just like, Bill, I got this, and that's it, man. I quit drinking and I just had faith to give it. And that's the deal, man, with veterans. The only thing that truly can help is the last thing that they want to do, and that's a relationship with Christ. And trust me, we were the ones like making fun of Christians. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
I know a lot of people. And so like to see that, and all those people that are still struggling with all these demons. And
that's the last thing they want to hear, man. They just, and that's it. They're just like, Bill, what else? And I'm like, man, it's just, here's a Bible. I'll get them a Bible with their name on it and just read it. And praying and praying. And man, my unit, and the cool thing about my unit was it's like built with just like the baddest dudes. Like they pumped us full of just patriots for Afghanistan. So they built a special unit. My unit was real small, but they said all these hardcore dudes there, and these are guys that just signed up to fight. Just battle hardened dudes. And man, out of that whole group, there's not many left, but the ones that are left now are pastors, they're preachers,
really?
And it started because I gave them a call, and they made fun of me, and they came here, and I'm like, hey, come here and see, and they're like, oh my gosh, man, like, this is real. One of them's a pastor now. Actually, two of them are a pastor, and one of them's a solid Christian up in Pittsburgh.
Well, did you get everything out of what you thought it was going to be whenever you were fully engaged and said, I want to go to the military, I want to fight? You're 18 years old. Like, did you get everything out of it you think you wanted and
absolutely
more?
No, absolutely. I mean, I look back now and man, God had a plan for me, and like, I have very little sympathy with people.
I'm the same way. No, I'm the same way. And it's just like everyone's got their
I mean, like, hey, here's how I fixed it, and they keep going down the wrong road, and they keep running back to drugs and alcohol, and it doesn't help anything. So I ask God, like, God, give me an understanding heart. But there just comes a point where it's just like, here's what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is what you need, and this is what works. And it has 100% success rate. And it takes people for a while because people are very hesitant when they first meet me, and they'll ask all kinds of people like, who is this dude? And I'm just a guy that loves Jesus, and that just my family, I got saved, and then my whole family got saved. We just been called to do his work, and it's nasty, it's gritty. Like, I love it. It is just, we work with just the worst of the worst felons. Like, man, I love it though. It's just fun. I get to work out all the time, and I get to make a difference. I get to tell people about the Lord. I get to help people out by giving them jobs, man. So
not only that, you not only are you doing this mission through this gym, running all these other businesses, but you show up to the gym every day and work out. Most people, once they get into that business, they're just a business owner and they're not so much, that active anymore.
Yeah.
You're still in there and usually beating everybody too.
Yeah, so I'm in there, but and too, like, I like to get out and I do recycling.
Yeah.
We have a recycling business. I like that. So my first job, man, is going to be at that gym. That's what I love. That's what God has called me to do. And man, different parts of the family, we work together and we understand the mission. Like my family, we understand the mission. The mission is Christ Fit Gym. Yeah. We support the gym. We're going to work hard because every ministry, my sister, runs a thrift store and we're able to help out people that don't have clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like we get to do wonderful things.
And that thing, I didn't realize that thing is so massive. Just talking to how many people donate to that thing, like, and how many people shop there is huge.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah. So she has such a huge heart. And then you got the recycling company, getting to put crosses on the cans. And it was funny. There's two lesbians that are recycle customers with us, and they went to go pick up their cans. Two of my workers, and one of the workers is just like, man, these two girls are lesbians and they love Billy. And they're like, why? And one of the guys was just like, well, Billy truly does what Christ wants us to do. And what does that look like? So is homosexuality a sin? Yes. Is adultery a sin? Yes. Okay. My struggle is being a man. Man, I see a nice girl. What are you going to do? You're going to have, immoral thoughts about her. Yeah. Okay. But it's about dying to self. You know what I'm saying? Like, of loving people and just saying, hey, look, I'm going to die to self, and you have to make a commitment each day. You have to make a commitment that, man, I'm going to love Jesus. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to go back to drugs. Like, I'm going to be faithful to my wife. So it's every day of just getting on my knees and needing God. It's insane, because when we first started, and I hate to go back to money, but when we first started the gym, it was like a $2,000 budget. Now, to keep everything rolling, you need like $300,000 a month. And a majority of it is just, but you've got 100 employees.
Right, exactly.
You've got, all these different businesses. But I've been there so many times, and I just pray, man. I just pray all the time. I'm just like, God, I need you. This is what I need. And something about God's love I'll never forget is when I was younger, and I just had my daughter Avery. She was a year old, and I was laying in bed with her, and I was just looking at her, and I was just thanking God. I'm just like, God, man, I'm just such a dirtbag. Like, you gave me a beautiful wife. You gave me a beautiful daughter. Like, you've given me this wonderful, I just said, you've been so good to me. And I remember looking at my daughter and thinking, like, how much I love my daughter. I was just like, man, it doesn't matter what Avery Joe does, man, she's always going to be my daughter. That's my daughter. I'm going to love her no matter what she does. And then God just kind of spoke to me, and he just said, Bill, the love you have for your daughter doesn't come close, for the love that I have for you. And I feel loved, by the Father, and I feel confident. I think that's what the world is today is man, we just need men. What does a real man look like? I thought a real man used to look like what I did in the military. Right, yeah. And I would still go out and do, I don't regret anything I did in the military. It made me the man I am today. And if I had to put back on the uniform, I would defend this country. I'd die for this country. But more importantly, I would live for my faith, and I die for my faith. I believe that we still live in a great country. I still believe, man, God is in control, and man, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for the future. I'm hopeful for what the gym and what kind of impact we can make. Yeah,
there's still hope for sure. I mean, I think that, we're always in a bad way somehow.
Absolutely.
Whether it's, one scenario or another, we're always in a bad way, and we seem to always overcome it together. Well, man, that's been a lot. And I'm so glad you took the time to give me that information and share this to, everyone who listens to this or watches this too. Man, any last words? Anything you want to add? I mean, I feel like I don't need to ask you any questions. You pretty much answered all of mine.
Man, I'm always, I think one of the hard things about the gym now is people will look, and I've learned, that people become very jealous and envious. They don't understand. Yeah. And God has been so good to my family. So we deal with a lot of just people they can't figure us out.
Most people don't. Most people are, first off, there's always going to be those people because they're on the outside looking in, right? And they have no idea what you've gone through to get there. All they see is the person on top. They don't see the struggle all the way up. And the struggle all the way up is the only way to appreciate the position on top.
Absolutely,
right?
Yep. So, and that's one of the things that we have to deal with is just people are watching us. I tell my family all the time, we're just living we live in a glass house, but again, man, there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. I wake up every day. I have drive and a desire just to keep doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it until God calls me home or tells me to do something else.
And we have competitions coming up.
Oh, tons. Yes.
So, Wad Gods, I'm hoping to be.
We got tons of stuff this year. We got the Open. We got Wad Gods. We got Beast races, Spartan races. Going to be.
So are you going to do Spartan?
Yes.
So we're talking about doing. I definitely want to get with you on that.
Yeah,
for sure. Because I always wanted to do one, and I was talking to Megan about. I was like, we definitely got to do the Spartan. I think there's one coming up in Arlington.
Yes. That's awesome.
I'm down. I'm in on that for sure.
We'll do it. Yeah, we'll get that together soon.
But man, it's been awesome. I wish we had some more time today. We're about to have to wrap it up, but it's been really great to get to know you outside of the actual gym. Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, man. Anytime you need anything, DJ, let me know, man.
All right,
appreciate you, bro.
Thanks.